Man, I was talking that whole time. So we're starting out cutting the Dymalux. I don't know, I think I have like 12 spindles to cut out on this stuff. You know, it's 10 right now. It's 20 after 10. I got here at 5:45, I want to say. So I came in, I laid out some spindles and did a bunch of laser engraving, trying to be quiet, not to piss the new neighbors off. Yeah, in the front, the little one-bedroom apartment. Looks like it's a young couple, or I'm pretty sure it's the girl who's renting. I don't know if the guy's on the lease or not. He's not there all the time, but I don't know. Never met them. Just see them coming and going. Yeah, so the 2-bedroom in the back is still empty. I think they're still doing work on it. But that's what happens when you have somebody that lives there for like 7-8 years, you know. No maintenance is done, you know. All right. Yeah, so yesterday we decided to take a nap. Siesta. It was hot and humid. So we decided we're going to stay later. So we worked until about 7 p.m. and then Vicky made some spaghetti. We didn't have a lot of spaghetti sauce, but I had some little cans of Bloody Mary mix. So we put some Bloody Mary mix in some ground turkey for the spaghetti. It was awesome. Yeah, this stuff is a pain in the butt to cut. It feels like you're cutting rock. Is Vicky a good cook? She does cook things. Yeah, she is. She is. Yeah, we share cooking duties. She tends to do the majority of the cooking, though. Like, I made breakfast this morning. So we went out yesterday for breakfast. It was just such a day. And we had leftover kind of hash, potatoes and onions and that kind of stuff. So I warmed that up today, and then I made some tornado scrambled eggs to go with it. Yep, so we got 2 meals out of breakfast. So since we're getting older, we split breakfast, so when we go out. So the place we go has pretty big portions. So yeah, we were able to, that one meal fed us, both twice. All I had to do was add some eggs. I guess it's one of the few benefits about getting old. I'm going to throw a number 9 blade on. I think it does better with the resin. So this blade is pretty aggressive. Hey YD, you have a challenge for everyone. When you're headed out of the stream, go and connect with a loved one or old friend you haven't spoken to in a while. Not a bad idea. Luckily for me, I don't have any friends. Yes, water is important. So even at a ½ inch thick, that number 7 blade wanted to torque a little bit, so that's why I went to the number 9. Yeah, this stuff is like cutting rocks. Mostly drop spindles. I do some other fiber tools, but yeah, my life is all about spindles. Yeah. This stuff is so hard to work with. Yeah, so this is resin impregnated wood. Mostly America these days, mostly America, yeah. Before the current president, I sold quite a bit internationally, but, what are you going to do? Does it turn easy on the lathe? It's not so bad on the lathe. It does tend to dull things pretty quick. But yeah, it's more like turning like ebony. Yeah. I used to sell quite a bit to Canada and Australia, and that pretty much dried up. So yeah, I've been making these full time. This is my 13th year. Yeah, so this material I really haven't worked with much in the past. Just over the last, about month and a half, I've been doing a little bit here and there. I'm kind of waiting till we get to our next festival. We'll see how they go over. It's a higher price point, but these are really, really nice. All right, yeah. And we also have some African Padauk coming up, some Canary Wood, some Purple Heart, and a little bit of cherry. So, hey John, how's it going? Welcome in. So now we're just coming to where the hole is. That'll be that big kathunk right here. There. Apparently I was a little light on the spray adhesive this morning. Yeah, that was my bad. Hopefully it'll just be this one. I'll make sure to have a stern conversation with myself about it later. The can was almost empty. Am I back in the show? Nope. The shows are, I think, is it 3 full weeks away? So we're getting closer. It's crunch time now. Now's the time when, I think I was here. Well, I worked about 12 hours. I was here 14 hours yesterday. We'll be working tomorrow too. So I'm trying my best not to let time slip away, but yeah. We just have a ton of stuff in process right now. Alright, we're gonna stick with this red and charcoal stuff. Yeah, Vicky is working on computer stuff right now. Yeah, so Friday is update day. So she's going to be putting some new stuff on the websites and then making an ad that we put on social media. Yep. And all that fun accounting stuff. Oh yeah, she definitely is. She's a good one. Yeah, I handed over a lot of my responsibilities to her as far as the shop goes. Just because it gives me more time to concentrate on making stuff rather than, taking pictures and that kind of thing. Yeah, so these, I do all the sanding on these as well. Vicky was complaining about headaches from it, and it's such a pain in the butt to work with. So I take care of these. Oh yeah, it's very. The smell of this stuff, it's very sweet and acidic. Yeah, it was giving. It's birch. It's yellow birch. Is the layers. So the stuff to make popsicle sticks out of. I've seen people. Do you have any competition? Couldn't somebody get people in Pakistan where to produce these in bulk and just lie about selling them as handmade? You could do that. I don't think that'd be very ethical. I mean, you could go to Alibaba and just order a shitload out of India if that's really what you wanted to do. Do I have any competition? Yeah, there's a few of us out there. As far as the handmade makers go, there's probably like a top 10. And names that come up in the conversation quite a bit. But yeah, I mean, you could go to Temu and order a Turkish spindle. It's going to be garbage, but you can order one. So yeah, so these are considered, it's a tool. So on Etsy, you can just straight up, order them in bulk and sell them on your Etsy shop. Yeah. Any quick way to make a buck. And on occasion, I'll find my stuff on fraudulent websites, which I feel bad if people actually buy off these websites because they're not going to get anything. I've never had to deal with any of the backlash. I find these sites and, I'll do a Reddit post or whatever, It's just odd. I hope you're not mad I drilled all your holes for you. Are you going to make it? You can go home and take a nap if you want to. You can take a nap on the couch, but you're going to have to listen to me sawing.
Especially, we know I can sleep through the noise if I need to.
Right.
I'm not tired. And it's,
Right. Hello, Ram. Welcome in. So if you're just joining us, we are cutting out some Turkish drop spindles for spinning yarn. This is... I try to be a good boyfriend. So we're currently cutting... this is called Dymalux. It's resin-impregnated yellow birch. And it's really, really hard. I guess I got like 10 more of these to cut out. Then we'll put a normal size blade on and just start cutting some, some African Padouk. No, I am not. I'm a figurehead, much like the King of England. I still have final say on most things. Now, Vicky makes sure we have a roof over our head and that all the bills are paid. Which is probably for the best. You don't really want the dyslexic guy doing the bills. You know what they say, when life gives you melons. So, this is the last of the red. Then we're gonna have pinky purple. I didn't realize how similar they are until I ordered it. Hello, welcome in. So, I guarantee it will be a little bit more exciting once we get done with this stuff, but we still got so much of it to cut out. Once you get to real wood, things go a little bit quicker. Hey EK, welcome in. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. I can see the chat. Granted, I look at the chat when I'm not cutting, but... Alright. I'm going to run away and I'm going to drill this hole real quick. I started the hole, but I didn't finish it. That's what happens when you start doing stuff at, 6 o'clock in the morning. get fired. I think I'll just purposely get hurt and then have a workman's comp claim. I was waiting for that blade to break. It was getting so dull. So I have to pay into workman's comp. And then if you don't have a workman's comp claim for the year, you get most of the money back. It's a big pool. So, yeah, if we don't file a claim, we get most of that money back, don't we? Workman's comp.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we turn around and send it right back to them for the next year?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, so this stuff, hello, welcome in. So I'll sand it, and then my squirrel son needs an hour meter. Yeah, we got quite a few hours on this. So I'll sand it, and then I actually buff it. I put it in the buffing wheel with compound. And then it's like a mirror type finish. It's pretty impressive. It's a lot of work to get there, though. I think the Seiko saws have hour meters on them, if I'm not mistaken. One of the brands has an hour meter on it. Oh! Sorry, I gotta check on something. Alright, so... that shower pan's supposed to be here between 12:15 and 2:15. But it's not even shipped according... Oh no, it's delivery. So, if you want to unlock the front door, honey, thank you. I kind of forgot about it until now. Because, you know, everybody needs a portable shower pan. I'm looking forward to cutting normal wood. We'll get through this stuff though. I think there's another 5 after this. Morning. How's Curtis today? Doing well, good to hear. Back at it? Oh yeah, we're stops. I'm doing okay. On the mend. Getting over a stomach bug. So it's about 80 degrees in the shop today, so I'm camping out in front of fans. Yeah. So I'm guesstimating iceberg jet ahead. Right? Jinx. Hopefully I'll be done on the scroll saw probably in about, what, 2 weeks?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean,
We got, what, is it like 3 full weeks and then a partial week? Or is it 4 weeks?
it's
3 full weeks and a partial?
it was 4 weeks from yesterday setup.
Okay.
So
Yeah, so we got,
typically don't count the week of the show.
yeah, the week of the show we're normally packing up.
Yeah.
I did not try the lemonade. So yeah, we got 3 full weeks, so maybe about a week left on the scroll saw. And then I'm just probably going to be on the lathe for the remainder of the time getting stuff ready.
And I got flying spindles left for California.
Uh-huh.
I got the apex left for California, which we've been doing there. So I have. And then I got like the mini apex, 2-inch minis and then the low standards. But I'm thinking that most of that stuff.
You got a lot. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm doing pretty good as far as cutting. What's that?
Purple heart dust all over your face.
I'm sure. It's probably not Purple Heart dust. It's the Dymolux.
Oh, it's a Dynalux. Oh my
I've been
God.
cutting Dymolux for almost the last hour.
Okay, so it's coming out purple.
Yeah, it's that pink purple color. Yep. What are we using today? So we're starting out with that Dymolux. We're almost done. We got another 5 to cut out. This is a resin impregnated birch. Then we got a little African Padauk, some Canary Wood, some Purple Heart, and then maple and cherry. So we're just battling this out. I'm actually gonna swap this blade out.
Hey,
Yeah? Oh, wow.
sorry.
So apparently I've been sweating and touching my face. I don't actually have a port wine stain in real life. Great. Now people are gonna think I'm Gorbachev. Although I'm a big fan of, what is it? Is it Glasnost?
I don't know.
Yeah.
No idea.
All right. Right? They're doing this wall. This yarn wall. That's awesome. We will have democracy. We will not have one president come in and take over everything and then never leave. Oh, wait a minute. Hello. Welcome in. Yeah. Well, I was talking about Russia, but yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, Giuseppe, how's it going? Welcome in. Yeah, and this stuff polishes. Once this polishes up, it is so freaking bright. Hey, Matt, how's it going? We got 4 more to cut out, and then we'll go to real wood, which cuts a lot faster. So don't pay attention to that writing on that. It's Dymalux, not Duralux. When I made the pattern, I was in a hurry. I wrote the wrong name down. It is a plywood. Let me just throw that in the buffer. So it's resin impregnated. And unlike plywood, plywood would have each layer grain running in an opposite direction. This has the grain running all in the same direction. So this is more about the color than it is about adding strength to it. Yeah, the wheel's right here. It'll take a second. So has not been sanded yet. So once it's sanded, it'll be even smoother. But you can see we're getting reflections off it compared to this side that I didn't touch. So yeah, this stuff is just very pretty. So you can also buy it without the resin. They sell that as Spectraply, but then it's just really, really soft, and you don't get the nice finish off it. But if you're gonna put a CA finish on, you could buy the Spectraply and like make palette, and then just do a CA finish over the top, super glue. Yeah, so this stuff, it's made per order, and it takes about a month and a half to get it once you order it. And it'll come in a slab in this orientation, so it was this thick. And it is not cheap. It's more expensive than the exotic woods. So we've been putting very limited amounts of this stuff up on the websites, kind of saving it for the shows. Yeah, it's similar, but the skateboard wood will have the plies in opposite directions, and it won't have the resin in it. Yeah, look how tiny those plies are. All right, got 2 more of these to cut. over an hour into cutting this stuff out. Ugh. All right, last one of these. Can I re-glue this real quick? But the good news is, this is the last one. The rest of them Vicky laid out, so they should have enough glue on them. So I'm pretty much running out of the sandpaper that I like on the lathe. So I went to the store to get some more, and they're out. And it's not good that they left a sign saying they leave little signs on the price tags of when it is expected to be back. I don't think it's going to be back for like 3 weeks, so I'm going to have to be using some different sandpaper. I looked online, and some stores do have it online, but it's like they want like $20 in shipping to send out like 10 little things of sandpaper, so. And it's not on Amazon. And I checked all the stores around me online, and it's like, yeah, I'm not going to be driving 45 minutes out of my way to pick up one thing of sandpaper that may or may not be there. So it's always something. All right, we're going to swap this blade out, go from number 9 to a number 7. This is a reverse tooth blade, so there is an up and a down. The only blades that don't have an up or a down would be crown tooth blades. Which, instead of having like teeth that look like this, they have teeth that look like that. So they look like little crowns or M's, and they're the same on both the top and the bottom. So if you're using the blade, if it gets dull, you can actually flip it upside down, put it back in, and cut with it some more. I just don't like the way they cut. All right. We're going to cut some African Padouk. Which is quite the difference. Right? But you can still see we're cutting nice and square. I do have some Purple Heart, which is much harder than this, but I thought I'd give myself a little break and cut some of the easier stuff. Hundale, hundale, hundale. Arriba, arriba, arriba. Yeah, I think I need to wear a dusk mask when I cut that Dymalook stuff. Now I got like a raging headache. But the good news is I got it all cut out first. I mean, it's a win-win. Yeah, so the Paducah is really pretty. Once I put a finish on it, it'll darken up a little bit. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to our next show. I mean, it's Wisconsin Sheep and Wool. I mean, it's one of our better shows. Actually, it's probably our best show. And we've always only had a single booth, and this time around we're gonna have two. So, and we're like kitty corner to where we were before, so hopefully people will be able to find us. Be nice to spread out. Hey Fury, how's it going? Welcome in. So we're just hanging out on the scroll saw today. Hey Lawrence, welcome in. still there. Yeah, scroll saws are good for Band-Aid type cuts. Which is alright because I'm stuck on Band-Aid brand because Band-Aid's stuck on me. I'm that old. All right, we got some minis here. We got two 2-inch minis and then the normal mini. So we are making Turkish style drop spindles that are used to spin yarn. So this is what came before spinning wheels. And we are cutting African Padouk. Which is very, very, very orange. Lots and lots and lots of practice. Hey, Double J, welcome in. Yep, so the next step would be sanding and balancing. We sand and we round over all the edges so there's no sharp edges. Nothing for the yarn to catch on. And then we balance them, which is the secret sauce. It's the one thing we don't show on the stream. Same concept as balancing a tire. Except we're not adding weight. We're actually taking away weight. So top whirl spindles are different. It's like a disc with a stick sticking out of the bottom. That style, I do add weight. I will add finishing nails and cut the heads off and then pound them in. It's called pin balancing. So I made a little contraption that I put onto the spindle, and I can move it around to find where the weight needs to go. Like I said, it's like balancing a car tire. Look how nice of a finish we're getting right off the saw. Yeah. Padauk has some pretty large pores, so you can actually see the little dots. So the reason I'm using paper patterns is we make a lot of these. Now you could just have a template that you would trace on top of the wood. That would work as well. But depending on the wood type, sometimes pencil lines aren't the easiest to see. Plus this is just quicker and it gives me a fresh pattern on each. So it's just easier to see. And the nice thing about doing it this way, we use blue painter's tape. on the bottom. So we're basically making a sticker that we can pull off. You know, if you wanted to, a lot of people use shelf lining paper for the bottom, which is fine, or packing tape, I'm sorry, which works, except for I try to avoid anything that's clear. I don't use normal masking tape because it's just pretty much the same color as like cherry. So it kind of blends in there. Where the blue painter's tape sticks out like a sore thumb. Plus, being a masking tape, you don't have residual adhesive to worry about. All right. So now we're going to canary wood, which I believe comes from South America. It's one of the few woods that I really like the smell of. Hey, Plays, welcome in. Are you from Brazil by chance? I use clues. I'm not up on my flags, but I know that one. Not bad for a gringo. So we are making drop spindles that are used to spin yarn. So this is what they look like when they're done. So today we're making the arms. Probably after lunch I'll start making the shafts as well. Yeah, so these are cross-armed spindles or Turkish-style spindles. These little ones are more of kind of a Mediterranean kind of size, you know, something you'd see more in like Italy or Greece. Sometimes the smaller ones you'll see even like in Egypt, so they'll be in Africa as well. What's for lunch? probably leftovers. We got a little bit of leftover spaghetti. I don't know if it's going to be enough to share or not. We'll see. I might be making ramen. I think we have one thing of ramen left here. And then I will throw an egg in it. Kind of soft boil an egg in there. I need to look up how they make those soy eggs. That's traditionally in ramen. So did I learn how to make these on my own, or did somebody show me how to make them? I learned how to make these on my own. I've been a woodworker for a long time. Like I've been using the scroll saw since I've been 12. So, you know, it's like anything else. It's just I spent a lot of time and you know, read a bunch of books and, you know, just really got into it for quite a few years as far as you know, exploring. You know, I got hyper focused on this. Yeah. It was never the plan. But, you know, I just fell in love with spinning. So I started selling spindles to help pay for supplies for myself. So one of my friends, way back in the 2009, 2010 kind of time frame, Etsy, the sales site, used to have its own chat room. And I was making wooden toys and little wooden signs. And one of my friends in there asked me to make her a spindle. So I'm thinking, yeah, that was probably later. It was probably like 2012. They still had the chat. So yeah, so I decided to make her one, and I wanted to make sure it worked. So I learned how to spin, and I fell in love with it. So I planned on making exactly one. So I was a little off. So if I'd have to guess, I'm probably in between the 30 and 40,000 range as far as how many I've made in my life. So just like any other little woodworking business, the secret to making a small fortune is to start out with a large fortune. Hey P, welcome in. How are you doing today? Yeah, that's just it. You need to find a niche item, something that everybody's not buying. Yeah, everybody's not making, you know? You know, if I was big into like Dungeons and Dragons and like role playing games, you know, it'd be, you know, making like, you know, dice holders and dice towers and, you know, that kind of thing. You know, you kind of find something that you enjoy, kind of work off of that. You know, I'm sure there's people out there making a living making yo-yos. I mean, and there's not a whole hell of a lot of us that are doing this full time either. Um, there's some very famous makers that have full time jobs that do this on the side. You like your scroll saw and you turn pens? There you go. Um, I remember a long time ago, probably 15 years ago, one of the scroll saw magazines we were talking about had an article about making pen blanks on the scroll saw. You know, where you would cut out, you know, a design on the inside and then fill it with resin and then turn it so it'll be embedded in there. You know, start incorporating things that you like to do together, you know? You know, I like to have a handful of pens in my booth, just slimline pens, you know, made out of exotic woods, or, you know, if I buy a piece of exotic wood and there's not enough to make a spindle out of, it might be big enough. They use a laser and those cost a mint. That depends what laser you get. You're on a fixed income? Yeah, I hear ya. Yeah, I think the lasers I have, I think every single one of them was more expensive than the first car I ever bought. Yeah, so the way that we do it, since we got the whole business thing going on, is I'll add one piece of equipment at a time, and then we won't get another piece of equipment until we paid off the first piece of equipment. So, so yeah, we kind of have a working list of what the next things we're gonna purchase are gonna be. Now, I also 3D print spindles. I don't sell a whole lot of them, but I do 3D print them. And I wanted to get a different 3D printer that will let me use multiple materials. I want one with 2 nozzles on it, so I can do TPU and then whatever, PLA, whatever. So I can print multiple materials into one thing. So I can have soft rubber on the inside where the shaft goes, rather than having hard plastic. And then rather than having like an insert or try to figure out how to do that, I can just print it in the design. And then the other would be a Galvo laser, a larger Galvo. I've got a smaller one. I want one that has a camera that can... So I laser engrave on top of these arms on some spindles. And the laser I use now has a probe that'll go through and probe on top all the way across, you know, the whole thing multiple times. So what it does is it knows the distance. There's a focal point, so it has to stay this far away. So it'll pick itself up and then dip itself down to stay in focus. Well, the one I have, that probe takes forever. So I'd like one that uses a laser. So it'll just ping, 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 ping. That way I don't have to babysit it. So right now I only do one pattern just because it's such a pain in the butt to set up. Yeah, I believe the CNC machine is just about paid off or just paid off. Honey, is the CNC machine almost paid off?
Yeah.
This can be our last payment, so yeah. So we're gonna just maybe wait a couple months and enjoy not having an extra payment. It's just one of those things where the machine has to make enough money to at least pay for itself. And I'm not getting any younger, so I've been trying to get things where I can automate them rather than, you know, I love what I do on the scroll saw, but there might be a time when I'm not able to do that. So I kind of want to get everything kind of set up where we can keep going with this without me sitting here. So I've got a little over a year left. Let's see. So, yeah, a little over a year left on the lease here. We're considering moving. Because thanks to Mitch McConnell, come November, we're not going to have Delta 8 in Wisconsin. So, yeah, Wisconsin doesn't have recreational or medical And with my neuropathy, man, sleeping needs a little gummy help. So hey, how's it going, Giovanni? Yeah, yeah. Hello, welcome in. So yes, so if you're younger, eat some vegetables. It's okay to eat like a teenager when you're a teenager, but once you hit 40, you gotta stop doing that shit. So I didn't mention it, but yeah, we're cutting Purple Heart now. So yeah, where I live is very, very, very alcohol. Lots of alcohol here. Apparently, In other countries, we're not allowed to enter drinking contests because we have an unfair advantage. I am not a drinker myself, but Wisconsin is notorious for alcohol. We are making drop spindles. These are Turkish style drop spindles for making your own yarn. Yeah. What is the drunkest state in America?
For the 8th year in a row.
Oh, come on,
America's
Texas?
strongest state is Texas.
Not strongest. No. What state is the drunkest in America? North Dakota? There ain't no way. Okay. All right, so this is the drunkest. So this is where I live. Wisconsin is still a very drunk state. There you go. So that's where I live. Yeah, it's no good. You know, the blues and purples, you don't see those anywhere else. So our tavern league here is super, super strong. So according to this, let's see. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the top 6 drunkest cities. Yeah. Now I could leave my workshop and I could throw a frisbee and hit 2 bars from where I'm outside my shop. What do I normally build in my shop? Spindles or more. Lots of spindles. I do some other fiber equipment type stuff, but majority is spindles. Yeah. Doesn't it cause a lot of antisocial behavior? Yes. Yes, it does. Does it cause a lot of accidents? Yes. Yes, it does. Does it keep a lot of Wisconsinites out of Canada? Yes. Yes, it does. Do you have a big issue with fentanyl use there? You know, I'm old, so I really don't see it. Where the big town next to where I live has a lot of issues with heroin. So you would think fentanyl would be right up the alley. But they used to prescribe opium like they were going out of opioids, like they were going out of style. I mean, hey man, how's it going? Welcome back. But yeah, where I live, it's a smaller city, so it's kind of hard to tell. Yeah, where they're just kind of in between standing and laying down, just zombie-ish. Yeah, I don't see that around here. But then again, I don't tend to see a lot of people at all around here. I try not to people too much. Is making your own alcohol big there, like redneck states? So around here, you know, you can legally brew beer. So, yeah, there's a bunch of people who make their own beer. I used to work with a couple guys that would make moonshine, but they were a little bit further north than where I am, but yeah. You know, they would make maple syrup as well. To kind of cover up the moonshine. So when I went to college in the early 90s, mid 90s, let's say mid 90s, it'll make me feel a little bit younger. They had a lot of issues with cat, methcathedone, kind of very similar to meth. You know, and they would tend to find where they were making it when, you know, they would blow up or burn down, and it was a huge environmental issue, and some people in the college up there discovered, you know, the Germans, the Nazis were playing around with this a long time ago, and they're like, oh, we're not going to do this. Well, a couple chemistry students discovered this and realized how easy it was to make, and you know, so they would show a friend who would show a friend who, and all the ingredients were legal at the time. Scary stuff. I would say the winters were a little bit too long up there. All right, guys. Well, I am going to go have some food. and possibly take a nap. So thanks for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it, and we'll catch you guys again next time. So remember, be nice to people. I guess that's all.